everybody. Welcome to episode 37 of the Intermission podcast, the show where two film graduates discuss classic, iconic, and obscure films from times gone by. We are your hosts, Oscar W. Fitchett.
And I am Robbie Tweedale.
Guten. No, it's not a German film. Konnichiwa.
Very good.
Konnichiwa.
Very
There
good.
you go for this film. It's just because I think this is going to be an interesting one in terms of comparison to every other episode we're going from this season.
All right.
Just more so how I can feel it already. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I don't necessarily
Yeah.
mean in terms of the film, although I do think the film's going to be an interesting one that will be discussed as well. But one thing I will say before. Oddly enough, I don't have loads. It's not like a load. I have got loads of things to say this time around. Nothing really has happened more with Love Bethany, so I don't have anything to say about that. Tickets are still available to see Love Bethany at the Arc if you can. And
Nice.
I think there's still tickets for the closing ceremony. Yeah, there definitely is still tickets for the closing ceremony, which is on that Saturday, where hopefully... Well, not hopefully. The awards will be announced then. The hopeful bit was going to be our chances, but
Yes.
but yeah,
Nice, man.
that's they're still going. That's promotionally things. But
Nice.
one thing I want to say about this film that's not this film related in the sense of like the discussion, but like the watching of this film.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I said last week I was like, oh yeah. GRAVE of the Fireflies. It's on Netflix. Go and watch it.
It's not, you dirty stinking liar. I'll look for it.
and I want to say why I said that, because I found out today that's on Netflix. Right. Forgive me for just assuming GRAVE of the Fireflies is on Netflix, with the fact that, as far as I was aware, every single Ghibli film's on Netflix, and I think the majority of Ghibli films are on Netflix, but except this one for
Not
some
this one.
reason. So that's a very odd one to exclude.
Too sad for Netflix, said Ghibli.
I guess so.
I
guess so. So I just luckily had the DVD, so I'm fine with that.
Well, yeah, I was searching over and over again. I started questioning myself, being like, do I know how to spell fireflies? What the fuck's going on? I was like FLYS? No, that's not right. I just kept doing it and being like, where the fuck is this movie? It's not on there.
No, it
isn't. Spent about an hour of my time trying to find this fucking movie. Oh god.
That's not on Netflix, but yeah.
No.
How's have you been? Obviously, you've been working most days these days. But how's the spooky season been for you so far, Robbie? Have you been celebrating spooky season?
I've not been getting too spooky, I must say. I've been you know when you go for a shower. And you wrap a towel around yourself to leave, then to go to your room and get changed.
That's not what I thought you were gonna say.
I've been not wrapping the towel around my waist, just fucking running and seeing what happens. And that's the kind of, you know.
Right. Right. I was thinking two things you were gonna say, and
yeah,
what you did say was neither of them. This is why this is what I thought you were gonna say. I thought one of them was going to be, you know, when you're in the shower and you're playing music. I've been having a spooky playlist. I thought you were either going to go.
Oh, no.
I thought you were either going to say you were just washing your head with the Monster Mash, but then you said about when you've had the towel. I thought you were going to say, you put the towel over you and being a spooky ghost, but no, you just
no. I mean, I could, but actually, I suppose it would be that's the next evolution of it, because it's spooky in the sense of a bit of danger. But then also, if I then wanted to up it again, I could put the towel over my head, which I don't think would be long enough. So I think the effect would still be there, because I'd be like Winnie the Pooh in it, and then I just kind of run across, and because I've got a towel over my head, A, I look like a ghost, B, I can't see. So that's the next evolution, I think. Yeah, you're probably bang on, actually.
Yeah, so do that. That's like approaching that.
Apart from that, I mean, I don't know. I watched Werewolf by Night, and we'll talk about that in the intermission section. I imagine.
We will talk about that in the emission section. One thing I want to say, I've got like a little list on Letterboxd, like a little private list that I've made for myself, like a little autumn watch list. Because I think, as I said to you, and I've said to a few people, like this is the first time in a long time that I've like kind of been like actually celebrating Halloween this season, because obviously the last 3 years have been uni, and it's been deep into the first module usually this time of the year, so I've been more stressed than I've been autumnal, if I've been honest, within this season. That usually gets like the weekend of Halloween, I'm like, oh, I'll celebrate it. But that's it. But this time, since, I haven't got uni, and at the minute, still job hunting.
Nice.
So it is what it is. But I thought, I still have, at least I have time to actually do a bit of Halloween-y stuff. So, but I thought I'll celebrate a little bit more than just watching horror films constantly. But I thought I'll watch autumn films around this time. So, for example, I kicked off watching Over the Garden Wall. That it was a Cartoon Network miniseries from like 2016, I think. Literally, is like 10 episodes, and they're all like 10 minutes each. So I got through So I got through it like in an evening, and that's like a nice little autumny thing. But then also, like today, for example, I watched Interview with the Vampire for the first time. Really class film. I didn't expect how good that film would be. It's really whimsical, but it's kind of like, there's a lot of gay subtext in it, and by gay subtext I mean like vampire Brad Pitt gets very close to vampire Antonio Banderas' mouth. That one moment in the Kill music video, the 30 Seconds to Mars, where Jared Leto is going very near to Jared Leto. It's like that, but closer. But then there's also moments where like Brad Pitt is slicing people in half with a what do you call that thing that's not not a cleaver? What is it?
Like a scythe?
A scythe, yeah, like a thing you just you slice people in half. And you know what, Robbie?
That's pretty sweet.
We just don't get films like this anymore, where it's like it was already practical. There was sets, there was already nice costumes. They burn a house on fire, and they legit set a house on fire. There's none of the CGI bollocks. Just really cool. It just felt like a really fun 90s flick. But also I want to say, in anticipation for Halloween Ends, which is coming out this weekend. And I'll talk about that next weekend. Me, Lewis, and Gary, we marathoned the Old Man Michael timeline.
Cool.
And I thought it would be fun. And the Old Man Michael timeline is Halloween 78, Halloween 2018, and Halloween Kills. So we had a short enough timeline there. But I thought, well, it'll be funny. Let's, it would be really funny, lads, if we take a shot every time that you hear the word Michael.
Dear God.
Lewis didn't do it because Lewis was driving. Gary didn't do it because he's Gary. And because he was an absolute Gary. And I thought, like,
I'll Gary about the situation.
He was just being an absolute Gary about it all. And then, so I thought, so then it just became me taking shots of straight Jack every time someone said Michael. First film, I only had 2 shots, and it's only said.
I bet that wasn't too bad.
It says Michael is said twice and only in the beginning of the film. So I thought, easy. And then 2018 happened. Michael said a little bit more, and then I thought, surely there's not like loads and kills, And I went, you know what, I'm gonna say it. And I was a little bit tipsy at this point anyway. I went, what? We'll take a shot every time you hear the word Michael, and then every time you hear the word evil.
Oh no! Because Halloween Kills, that's the whole thing. They have that stupid chant that they do.
Evil dies tonight.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, and I finished the bottle of Jack.
I imagine you didn't feel very good.
I was dizzy. I hadn't felt that dizzy since the day job rap party.
Oh, dear God.
I ended up sleeping by my toilet for a little bit because every now and then I threw up, then fell back down, and then threw up again. And it maybe was one of the worst drunk nights of my life.
Yeah, probably not great.
So spooky season again.
Yeah, that's what spooky season is all about.
So should I take and I'm already preparing myself because Angus and I have already arranged not this Friday, next Friday, to do the Saw 3D drinking game. Which
Oh dear Christ!
Which after the Halloween one.
Oh no!
I'll is what. So yeah, that's the spooky season so far for me. It's feeling all autumnal and making stupid drinking games for spooky films. But yeah. So,
good on you.
I'm
just gonna give me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna do that.
Oh,
goodbye. Because I googled it. Because I just thought then, hey man, that's a pretty old band. Anything could have happened. So I googled Owl City cancelled. Turned out Daniel. It doesn't matter. I don't want to give this guy a fucking outlet. Former member of the band Owl City was charged with attempting to show a child and 4th-degree criminal sexual conduct.
Oh dear, yeah, maybe not have that be.
So that background's gone. If you didn't get the joke, it was because they sang a song called Fireflies.
Yeah, they did.
A really bad song called Fireflies, but there you go.
It's okay.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it belongs firmly in that time period.
Yeah. So you know what? For tonight, we'll have Tiger Woods again.
He's back, everyone.
He's back.
It's so terrifying.
I don't know what I really enjoy about it is that if I move out the way, the microphone stays, so it does look like Tiger Woods is doing the podcast.
Oh, the mic disappeared.
It's gone. Oh no! Fuck that one time. There we go.
What about my one? Hang on a minute.
No, I wish that stayed. Oh god. So yeah, really good for our audio listeners.
Yeah,
this segment is really good.
Sorry, Angus, because Angus, as we know, is more of an audio listener. He is a video listener.
Yeah, sorry, man.
But also, it's no secret that we cater more to the YouTube side of things, which I want to say. We're 320 subscribers.
Really?
Good. Cheers. Thank you very much
Thanks, everyone.
If you're a recurring listener and subscriber to us. And also, our last few videos have been doing quite well, Robbie.
Have they really?
We've got about over 80 odd for All Quiet on the Western Front. We've
Nice.
got almost 69 for the 7-year itch.
Nice. How far off is it?
Literally one view away.
I'll just watch it again.
Just
give me a second.
Stick on the 7-year itch episode while we talk about this. And with that being said, Robbie, I need to remind myself to do this. And let me just talk about things in the description before we continue on. There are links in the description for the Instagrams and the Letterboxds for both of us, as well as the Intermission podcast itself. That's where you can find out what film we are watching prior to the upload and all that jazz. And also, I've been uploading clips to there as well, because any highlighted clips I think would be a good shout for that. Such as last week, this current week I uploaded a separate clip of the Teen Robbie meeting that took place, and also before that when Martin Scorsese called in. So, there's clips on there for that. There's also time codes in the description in case you want to see where we're at, in case you just want to see how long we are actually discussing the film.
It's really handy,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And also the intermission section has its own, it's time coded within the intermission, so you know what we're actually talking about within the intermission. And such and such. As I said as well, there will also be the link in description for the ARC for the Tees Valley International Film Festival to see Love Bethany if you want to come and see it in Stockton in late October. And as always, there are links in the description for mental health stuff for any type of help that you may need. There's the information in the description there below for that stuff. And also, I've realised I always used to clarify, we talk spoilers about the films, and then for this entire season, we just haven't. So,
sorry.
But I guess spoilers, if you haven't seen the film, get out of here. But if you don't care, stick around.
They died. They both die. Fuck you.
Gave them a very small window to get out of here. because
had
someone
about
would
3 milliseconds to get out.
Because someone would be clicking on a Grave of the Fireflies podcast, being like, "Oh, I haven't seen the film, but I really want to see it. Let me just click on this hours of discussion about." I mean,
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of,
Yeah.
the film that we are talking about this week, Robbie,
Hell yeah.
is the 1988 World War II anime film, Grave of the Fireflies. The film is directed by Isao Takahata, and it's written by Isao Takahata, based on the novel by Akiyuki Nosaka. The film stars, this is the Japanese voice acting I want to say, stars the voices of Tsutomu Tatsumi, Ayano Shiraishi, Yoshiko Shinohara, and Akemi Yamaguchi. And the film's plot synopsis, according to IMDb, is a young boy and his little sister struggled to survive in Japan during World War II. And the accolades the film holds, it has a 100% on the tomato meter and an audience score of 95%. It has a score of 8.5 out of 10 on IMDb, placing it at number 46 in their top 250 films of all time. And it has a score of 4.4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd, placed it at number 37 in their top 250 films of all time. And so this film, Robbie, is the second Studio Ghibli film that we've talked about. The last one was Spirited Away, which I loved. Robbie, not so much. The whole reason behind me choosing this film was I originally was going to go with Princess Mononoke as the next Ghibli film that we talk about on the podcast. But I thought, you know what? Studio Ghibli has such a range of types of films with not just Hayao Miyazaki. So I thought instead of going for another Hayao Miyazaki film that's based in the fantasy genre with Princess Mononoke, I thought, well, let's see how we go with talking about a film that is directed by Isao Takahata, so not Hayao Miyazaki, and a film that is not a fantasy film. Isao Takahata is basically the co-founder, along with Hayao Miyazaki, of Studio Ghibli, and this film came out the same year as My Neighbor Totoro, which I believe was kind of like the first year of them releasing films. So Miyazaki released one, Takahata released another, and although these are two directors who made films within Studio Ghibli, these are two directors who made very different films in Studio Ghibli. With Miyazaki doing more, again, fantasy-based things. A few things based in reality, but he had a more whimsy to him. Takahata was very much more so based in reality, very much more slice-of-life-y type of, in his way of making films. I think a good way of looking at him is he's very Yasujiro Ozu in his way of filmmaking. And my relationship with this film is this is the second time I've seen this film. This is actually one of the earlier Ghibli films I've seen. I saw this. This might be the second Ghibli film that I watched. I watched it. It was on YouTube. I was like, I'll watch it. It's not that long. I had time to kill before going to college. So I stuck Grave of the Fireflies on and watched it for the very first time. I would have been about 16, 17 when I first watched this. So it's been nearly 10 years, about 10 years since I last seen this film. And it's a film that, to not get too much into it before the discussion, it's a film that I really like. The film. It's a film I really like. Last week when talking about All Quiet on the Western Front, again a war film, I said the word that I used for that was quite a harrowing film. This film, the word that popped in my head is just sorrowful. It's not a happy film at all, which is why I think it's going to be a very interesting discussion that we're going to have within this. But yeah, really like the film. I am a big fan of Isao Takahata as just a director generally. He directed my favorite Ghibli film, which is Only Yesterday. Again, a very different type of film than this film. But yeah, that's my whole thing with Grave of the Fireflies. Robbie, your thing with this film?
I had never seen this before, as we know, and I'll tell you what, I knew about it though, and I'll tell you how I knew about it because a whimsical being called Stephen Gibbs has it tattooed on his arm. Yeah. That's the only reason why I know anything about this. I don't know. I didn't know what it was about. I don't know nothing. So I went into this with open arms, and dear God, am I conflicted. Okay. Let me explain something to you, to give a bit of context towards my feelings towards this. I really dislike, incredibly strongly, I dislike modern Pixar, right?
Right, yes.
Because they're films that exist not to be creative or to be fun or to be like a good time. They've got a name for themselves as being, they make kids movies that make you cry. And so they're now just specially catered movies that are strategically engineered to make you cry at the end, right? I always go to watch them, and I watch them, and I think to myself, fuck you, man. I don't, like, you're not trying to be a good movie, you're just trying to make me sad. Up, by the way, is a bad movie. And
I'll disagree heavily.
I'll stand by it till the day I die. Yes, the first 5 minutes are excellent, but then it becomes a load of comedic relief characters just following around this one guy, and they're all equally irritating. The dog, the kid, the fucking bird.
Disagree heavily.
Everyone in that movie except Carl Fredrickson is comedic relief, and they all suck. Anyway. And so similarly with this film, I was watching it and being like, this is so fucking draining in how sad it is. Constantly. It's not even like, it's not, I mean, there's bits of respite where, you get a bit of relationship between the brother and the sister, and that is easily the best part about this, is their relationship and their dynamic. Is
the little slice of lifey moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easily the best parts. But where I get conflicted is because, this isn't, I don't know, hey, how about this space guy? Spoilers for Lightyear, I guess. How about this space guy he's trying to save everybody because he got them all stranded on the planet, but he actually ends up going so far into the future that everyone he knows and loves is dead. And it's like, all right, but like it's specifically trying to make me sad, and I felt the same whilst watching this, but at the same time, this isn't a Space Ranger and aliens and whatever. This is, it's World War II. It happened, and it's kind of, it's a story that I imagine is taken from real accounts and stuff. So in that sense, I'm conflicted because if where this was adapted from, if that person had a terrible time, which I imagine they did, I don't want to be like, boo, you're just trying to make me sad.
I'll have a quick look because obviously it's based on a novel, so I don't know. If it's like one of those novels where it's like, oh, it's influenced by a time in someone's life. It's semi-autobiographical.
Yeah,
it's a semi-autobiographical short story. It is based on the author's experience before, during, and after the firebombing of Kobe in 1945. One of his sisters died as the result of sickness. His adoptive father died during the firebombing proper, and his younger adoptive sister Keiko died of malnutrition in Fuki. So it is quite Well, this is what I mean. Either way, these kinds of things happen to a lot of people.
It's so during the war anyway. So in that sense, I'm conflicted. I don't know why this didn't connect for me. Maybe on a different day when I'm in a different mood and I'm not real tired because of work, I'd have really enjoyed myself. But watching this, I was just like, it's one of those films where it's so character based that I get really bored.
Robbie has an issue with character based films.
Boy, do I! Because nothing happens. It's just people going about their lives and whatever, and that can work for some people, but for me, it never does. I've never seen one.
Unless your name is Days Confused, it's not working for Robbie.
Yeah, but even that's like, do you know what it is? That is funny.
Yeah.
And I'll like, you know, I enjoy it and I enjoy the characters or whatever. I enjoy the characters of this, but they're not like fun to be around.
Well, yeah, it's not a fun situation.
Exactly. That's what I mean. But if it's like it's a character based thing where you're just kind of following these two people in a situation that is really bleak all the time.
Yeah.
It's just very draining. Yeah, I think you have to be very much in the right space of mind for this kind of a film, if that makes sense, you know. Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to get to for the last 10 minutes without saying anything. That's what I mean.
I think it's one of these things where I think we could talk about the themes and stuff in one way, but then we could also like talk about, because if you say you're feeling very conflicted about it, but we could talk about like just general themes and that, but then we could also like weave in there like what necessarily didn't work from you in terms of a film point of view, because it's interesting, because obviously with modern Pixar I haven't watched as much as you have. Like I've watched Soul, which I love, and I've watched Turning Red, which I thought was incredibly mediocre and fine, and
which is incredibly a movie that exists.
Yes, which is completely a film that exists, and I've seen Luca, which I like a lot.
Yeah, that was good. I liked that.
And I chose not to see Lightyear because I didn't hear anything good. I just didn't hear anything that drew me to it.
Can't blame me.
But obviously, yeah, I think, no, in terms of like looking at the comparisons with that, because obviously this film has a reputation of like, everyone goes, oh, it's one of the most depressing films ever, and it's gonna destroy you, and it's such like you're gonna be a puddle of tears by the end of it, and I don't feel like that with it, but I also feel like it's not the same type of film like a sad Pixar film, where I think with a sad Pixar film, and again, my favorite Pixar film is Inside Out, which I guess you could argue it is a sad Pixar film. And I also like Soul, and I also like Up a lot. I just like Pete Docter's films in Pixar is basically it. Yeah. And with those films do have like a thing where like you could look at like the sad Pixar films, like they do have like, we're building up to the big sad bit where you are meant to cry. Now we're going to ease off. Now we're building back up to another big sad bit where you're meant to cry. I don't think this film has that structure. It's just all like, you just got like all like, the whole film's not like, and now we're funny, and now you're going to cry, and now we're funny again. And now it's just like, it's weird because we talked about in Kramer versus Kramer how I'm a big fan of slice of life storytelling.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I haven't considered this film a slice of life until watching it this time around. Like, oh, this is literally just watching stuff happen, but in a World War II setting.
Yes.
Like, that's what, like, this, there isn't like a big grand thing where like, let me get the characters' names up for a second, where like Seta and Setsuko, they're not like trying to, it's not like in 1917 where they're trying to deliver a letter or anything, or like they're not, it's just like bombs hit, and it's not even like the first big bomb, it's just like, it's an air raid, and it's not even the first air raid that's happened that we first see hit, their mum dies, and they're just living with someone else, and then they move away from being with that person, and then they both die. and that's it. And that's the film. You're watching just them going to air raid shelters because bombs are dropping again, and they're trying to find food. And this isn't an exciting film. This isn't like a film where you're like, oh, what's gonna happen now? It's like we keep going. We're still going.
I think that's probably one of the reasons why it didn't work for me, was like structurally there's no peaks or troughs to anything. It's just kind of a flat line of real bleak the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, it never like ebbs or flows or anything. But
film starts and the main character goes, "This is the day I died." and then we then just go,
and then you
we
see him die in a train station, and then the movie starts.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, great. Well, this is gonna be good, isn't it?
You instantly know the tone. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I know you're right.
The film never tries to
be something else.
It's never like, no, we're a happy Ghibli film, and now bombs are dropping. It's just like, it's World War II. It's shit.
Everything sucks.
Everything sucks. Watch everything go to shit.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Enjoy question mark, I guess.
And then we're off. That is literally it.
Yeah. Which I think for me it could have, and again, it's me being a little sucker and being like, I don't like character based things. Why? I'm a big baby. Blah, give me explosions. I think it could have done with something that they were trying to do.
Okay.
Be that like, there's all this talk about their dad. Maybe they're trying to find their dad. And then they find out, and if you want to carry on with it being real bleak, they find out just before the third act that the dad's been dead the whole time and they've been chasing a guy that's been dead the whole time because he died in the war or something. But I think it felt very aimless. And I know that the aim is just, stay alive. But I think also with the opening scene, I know they don't.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like, I'm sat about and they're doing stuff whilst I slowly wait for them to die. and when I've just come back from an 8-hour shift and I'm just sat there watching two children slowly reach their doom. I'm like, God, what am I doing?
Is this the saddest film we've talked about on this podcast?
Probably. And it's probably the saddest I've been whilst talking about.
Is it? Because I don't even mean because obviously there's been films that have made us emotional and cry. Like It's a Wonderful Life made me cry like a baby. So there's been more, but I don't there's no
There's never been another one where it's been this is just a really depressing.
We've never watched a film that's been Jesus, out.
Yeah, dear God.
Yes. I mean, there's me. I mean, that's me. Not shame, but that goes for me for picking it though, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I feel and it's weird because it's a film that didn't quite fully connect with me, how you were saying, because I thought it might have been an instance where because there's been examples where I watch a film when I was a younger film fan that I liked but I didn't quite get, and then I watched in my 20s and then everything clicked. And then Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind was an example of that for me, when it's when I've actually went through a relationship and I've actually went through stuff and I went, fuck, this is rough, and then just shit clicks or stuff like that. I thought maybe this would be the case as well, and it is to an extent in the sense of I now understand just general slice of life films now. Yeah. So I can appreciate it from that, and obviously I've now watched more Ghibli. Imagine this being your second. I mean, it is your second Ghibli film.
It is my well, technically third.
Well, you tried watching Totoro.
I fell asleep over and over again. Maybe I just don't like Ghibli.
I've got another idea. I've got another plan.
Okay.
For it.
And maybe I'll just. Is the next one my last chance?
Well, no, the next anime film we talk about isn't going to be a Ghibli film. So
okay.
We'll explore other non-Ghibli anime.
Nice.
It's not going to be your last chance, right? We're cutting you off.
It's going to say, right, okay, if you don't like this one, this is all of the avenues you can go down with Ghibli. If you don't like this one, then it's just not for you, man. I don't know. And then I'll be witness to a tirade of abuse for the rest of time for not liking Studio Ghibli, a studio that, for some reason, everyone in the world is this is great. We love this.
I mean, it is. But,
I guess. I don't know.
It doesn't help that you watch Spirited Away and you're nah, not for me. And that's
yeah, that's the one. That's the pedestal movie of being this is Studio Ghibli. Look how fucking amazing everything is. And
you're just
and I was
not for me.
Not for me, mate. It's all right, but
But Grave of the Fireflies.
Yes.
And what I was going to say, and this was a film that I wasn't sure, how I would, handled now. And I will say, there's a lot of moments where I got like, I did get a bit of like slight heaviness under my eyes. Not any point where I felt tears were gonna start flowing, but I felt like, something in the face.
Yeah.
And I got goosebumps in a good few times, and I will say a lot of the time, the goosebumps were mainly caused because that score is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
The composer being Michio Mamiya, who also composed, from the looks of things. Was this person's last film they composed? What the fuck? Hang on a minute.
No.
They're not dead. But yeah, this was the last thing they composed as well. So interesting. They were born in 1929.
Wow, holy shit.
But this score, man, I don't know. I think I've discovered, right, there's certain instruments that when I hear, I just start getting emotional.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. It's with, if it's film or just music generally, if I just hear an instrument, I'm like,
no.
It's the acoustic guitar, if it's played at a certain pace, and depending, there's sometimes a piano on its own.
Yeah.
And one thing I've discovered with this film, a flute. It's like, and the specific scene that really, really gave me like the combination of like the score and the story bit in it was within the first act. It was when I believe the mother hadn't died yet, but she was taken to the hospital, and hang on, I need to double check the sister's name.
Setsuko?
Setsuko, yeah. When she was just crying, and Seta was looking at like a bar, and he was like, "Hey, Setsuko, watch this," and then he was just doing the rolls as she's still crying, but then that flute music is playing. To me, that's a scene and a moment that I think is beautiful character, just establishment, and to me it is so profound and poignant in the sense of like we didn't have like him going over and cuddling her. We didn't have her doing anything. They don't even ever look at each other. He hears her cry, and he's trying to be like, "Hey, watch this," and try like take her mind off it. He's trying to distract
her, yeah.
But even though she isn't looking, she isn't stopping crying, but he's still going. He's still going. Yeah. He's still. It's just
because at that point, I guess he's trying to distract himself.
That's what I mean as well, because he's a kid as well.
Yeah.
And instantly he has to be the parental figure.
Yeah.
For his little sister, which I cannot imagine what that would be like.
That's insane.
Jesus Christ. The closest thing I can think about that in relation is this too personal? No, it isn't. It's not too personal of a story. I'm trying to think of like if it was too personal of a story within my family. Way before I was born. So when my mum was 16, my nana, her mum, got into a bad car crash in the point of where she was in a coma for a good while, and it was very uncertain about her stability.
Yeah.
And my mum, at 16 years old, this is why she stopped doing A-levels. She was doing A-levels in French, and she had stopped doing it. And because my granddad, the dad, was working, but there was also a period of time which I found out only recently that he had to go to hospital around this point as well for some reason.
Oh, right.
I can't remember specifics. So my mum, being the oldest of 3 children, had to
step up and be that.
At 60 years old, she worked at W.H. Smith's. She had me Uncle Martin, he would have been 14. And then my Auntie Louise, she would have been 11 at this point as well. So that's the only thing I can think about with that. So
what a lady.
I know, right? I know, right?
My God.
So, and I think it was also it was around Christmas-ish time as well. So that whole period of time. And so I think this story relates, it clicks to me in a certain way, again, not massively personally, but I can have a certain understanding and connection to it. And I think that's what makes this almost This is what I like about the film as well, is how authentic it is. Because the way my mum's told me, when my mum's told me about that moment in her life, it's never been a really over emotional time she's told me, or like really like obviously sucked and it was a terrible time. But she never expressed it in a way of like utter sadness. She almost explained it to me a bit matter of fact.
Right, okay.
And like that's just how it had to be. And that's almost how these two in this film are, where like I like that's what I mean. It's not overly cry. There's moments where Seika he just starts crying because it'll catch up, man. That shit will catch up.
Dear God. It's the bit when the bits where they cut in other things from the film. Like when she's burying the fireflies. Oh man, dear God, that's upsetting.
Yeah, it's stuff like that.
That sequence was one of my favorites.
The firefly generally.
Yeah, I think that one was very nice to me in terms of like a moment of those two just kind of having some fun and getting to be kids for a bit.
Yeah, man.
Like that, those are the bits that I like really enjoy. So that whole bit where they've set up camp and they're, all that kind of thing. I guess like the closest thing to me would be like, hey man, what if you woke up one morning and all of your family was gone and it was just you and your nephew, and you just had to look after him, and I'd be like, God.
I put myself in that thinking with me and my niece.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. It's like it's fucking horrible. But yeah, I think one thing that I have that I'm like, hey man, come on. The bit when they move the mum's body, whoever signed off on the idea of putting maggots on the floor, gross, man. I get it, but like, come on, dear God. I mean, that's really twisting the knife, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely obviously in Spirited Away. One of the things I talked about, what I love about Ghibli is the detail that's always within the animation, and there's just as much detail in this film, but not in the little whimsical way of like, oh, there's a little cool little bug that's amongst like this little plant, and oh, look at that little like fantasy. It's like, yeah, there's like the maggots crawling on the floor with the corpses of like at war aftermath.
Yeah. Christ.
It's I think that one thing I also think is interesting about this is that what we kind of talked about a similar type of thing in All Quiet on the Western Front, how it's interesting seeing a war film that is showing not America or England, that is seeing, with All Quiet on the Western Front, it was like watching German troops.
Yeah.
With this, obviously, we're seeing Japanese citizens. We don't even see military. There's not a military base. That we see planes. That's it. Which I think is so interesting, and again, another good way to look at war, in the sense of like, war isn't just, we're on the trenches and we're firing at the other soldiers. There's a completely there's the rest of the world, especially during the World War, obviously. Like, there's the rest of the world that all they see of soldiers is the planes. They're not even involved with it at all. Yeah. So all they see is the carnage and the effects that's happening because of the war. And again, me with my little anti-war hat on, it's just like, it's so like fucking like, it's so clear in the sense of like, see how much shit this causes, and this film shows it in the sense of like, these are even none the wiser of it.
Yeah.
But they've got the worst of it. And again, we've got an hour and a half of just watching the worst of war. And yes, not a pleasant film, but it's not meant to be, and it's not trying to be. And again, I think the way that this story is told, again, I don't know how the book is laid out. I assume based on the nature of the book is probably in a similar way of just talking about a series of events. Yeah. Is probably what that is. But this film is just talking about, we're just seeing a series of events. And I think it may not be, to me, it's not going to be a war film that I'll use as an example of a definitive war film, but I would definitely use it as an example of like almost like if you want to throw in multiple types of war films, and be like, if you just want a broad range of what war actually is, there's like I don't know, Apocalypse Now for like what's like for people with PTSD, All Quiet on the Western Front for what's like just people going to war, Grave of the Fireflies for what's like with people not in war but war's still affecting.
Deer Hunter for if you want to know what it's like to go to sleep.
Well, I was gonna, exactly,
roasted.
exactly.
Got him.
I was gonna say, or like Schindler's List, a film that we've yet to cover on the podcast, but Schindler's List for like what else was happening during war that people. Yeah, it's probably Schindler's List is actually probably the best comparison with this film in terms of the feeling.
Yeah.
Of it.
Again, oh man.
I haven't seen Schindler's List in a long time, so I can't remember specifics of how that story is. But the feeling I remember from Schindler's List is the same type of feeling with this film. Like, it's weird in the sense that I find it very difficult to analyze this film in a way that we have done in previous films. Yeah. Because the film just so is.
Yeah. It's difficult to like analyze a feeling.
Yeah. And the thing that I can, and again, as I said, I didn't necessarily emotionally fully connect to it, or really, or like have as visceral of a reaction to it. But one thing this film did, and it's a film, and whenever a film can make this happen to me in any way, I always like have to have the feeling of like, well, it's not like I have to praise it because that's just how my emotions have given me. It's once the credits hit, I'm not moving. Yeah, I'm not like there's times where like when the credits hit with this film, usually when credits hit with films, like credits roll, I'm like sat on my couch, like on my chair, and I'm like, right then, I switch my light back on, I let the credits just roll, I log it on Letterboxd, and I'm just leaving it to roll. Yeah, like film ends this time, I'm still just sat. I'm not turning the light on. I'm not going to Letterboxd to log it.
Yeah, it's kind of numb.
Sat. I'm numb, and like. Prisoners did a similar effect to me when I first watched that in the cinema. Yeah. Place Beyond the Pines kind of did that to me when I watched that in the cinema. So, to me, it's a film that is so like. I guess a good way to almost look at it is Ghibli akin. I can understand when people go, Ghibli's the Japanese Pixar, and it's like if you want to describe that to the layman. That's the easiest way to describe. That's the easiest way. But I think they're so different of films in the sense of like, yes, each company do a thing of like a way of emotional resonance with a medium that is traditionally looked upon as a children's medium. Yes. But whereas I think Pixar do it in a very Western way, Ghibli do it in a very Eastern way. It's just how they do it. Pixar are very... And now you cry. Yeah. Now cry. Whereas, like, I think Ghibli, and again, I think it is the way of, like, Japanese filmmaking. And it's the thing that I think even we could compare it to, like, films like, even when we watch Harakiri or Seven Samurai, how when they are trying to make you emotional, they're just doing it. They're not trying to make you emotional. They're just telling a sad story.
Yeah, I think it's a cultural difference. Like, I think, like, just generally... The Japanese, not even Japanese, but just Eastern culture generally, it's so much more delicate and subtle than things in the Western world where it's, like you say, it's just a Pixar film will just go, cry now. Look, that weird elephant man has fallen out of a fucking thing, isn't that sad? Not really. But this one, but it's not. And then this one, it's not. He's a fucking dickhead. No. But this is like throughout, it just kind of gets you in a tone where it gets you to understand the situation. You understand the nuances of the situation. You understand the characters and how they're going to react to that. So that when an event happens, it's because you understand more so than anything is why it makes it upsetting. You get it because you've been in it for for however long the film's been going on.
Exactly. Yeah. It. I tell you the moments that like hit with me with it. It's like it was like the third air raid, and I'm just watching people run to safety, and it's like I'm like, Jesus Christ! It's like it's so constant.
Yeah, it's relentless.
And again, it's not even like a thing where like it's not even like a lazy trope. Oh, you're going back to the air raid again, are you, Isao? It's like it's just God, but that is what it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, it's difficult. It's difficult because have we talked about a film that's based on a true story? I think this might. I'm not sure if this might be the closest thing we've come to it. Really.
I think so.
Again, Apocalypse Now and Deer Hunter are based on like the war,
yeah.
but they're not real events. That like they're not. We're not looking at real people.
Yeah.
Really. And I know this is semi-autobiographical, but from reading what the short novel is like, it is very biographical.
Yeah.
It's very autobiographical, which autobiographical is even more intense, I think, to talk about.
Oh, definitely.
Because it's someone telling their story.
Yeah.
Which is... And I'm going to take a little detour, not a full detour, but a little thing to say. This is why I think that general art and storytelling in this way is so important and so necessary in a sense of like, again, it sounds really wanky and pretentious to me to say that, but obviously we're very advocates for mental health in general, just mental well-being. And I think film and television and anything of this ilk is at its best when you can make a story that is allowing people, like the audience, to maybe get something from it, even though they're not in that situation, but as well as allowing the person who has had those emotions to visualize and create it. So,
it's to help people understand what you feel and why, why is Siri coming on? This is a poignant moment, Siri. Fuck off. Sorry.
but yeah, like that. And and again, although it's not Isao Takahata's story, it's I need to know this person's name.
Yes.
Oh God. Akiyuki Nosaka. Nosaka, yeah.
Yeah.
His story is, again, I think that's what makes me always very like, even though I might not fully attach myself to a film, I'm always, if I find a film that has the feeling of like, oh, someone got what they needed out.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, again, I love me popcorn films. I love me fun films. And I think a lot of but however, I think a lot of, and I like me pretentiously artsy-fartsy films, but I think a film that does something like this where it is so, again, as I've been saying to you, it's so difficult to talk about because there's no fancy filmmaking with this.
Yeah.
There's even the animation, which is great, but there's no like, wow, that's a really stunning visual. There's no, I mean, apart from the background behind me right now, stunning visual, but there's no fancy filmmaking things about it. The score, again, I said, is great, but it's not like there's a big performance in it either. Isao Takahata within this film has almost managed to craft just an actual emotion.
Yeah.
Which... difficult to do. Again, it's not a thing that I'm putting on all the time, but I think it's important that it exists.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Is kind of my thing about it. Again, I don't know. It's a weird one.
Yeah. It's one of the trickiest ones we've done this, I think. Because for me, I think I think that my opinions that fall in this film are, as a film and as a piece of entertainment, sort of. I mean, I guess you'd call it. I would say all film is entertainment in my eyes. So, as a piece of entertainment and as a story, it doesn't quite connect for me personally. what I think it excels at is being a depiction of the time it's trying to portray, and the feeling of that, and the kind of helplessness of it, and the real experience that people went through. It depicts that perfectly in this horrible, harrowing way, which is like I say, even if the story doesn't connect for me, it's still something that should exist. It's not, you don't. It's not one of the ones where I'll come on and be like, I hated that and booing his, and I wish I never saw it or whatever. I think this is a very important and poignant film to exist to depict those feelings.
I think it's also interesting that it is an animated film as well.
Yeah.
And it is that it is a film within that medium, and I think again one of my not complaints but qualms with it is like although for what this film is, I like the fact it is like only an hour and a half, because my God, that
if it was any longer.
But I almost would have wanted more of. I mean, it's interesting to say, because I almost would have wanted more of the brother and the sister.
Yeah.
But then also that is just the film.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
I think it's. Do you know what it is? I think it is because it's like you. I really like the moments where they are just kids for a bit.
Yeah.
And you just seeing this absolute adorable child. Again, not an annoying child.
No, she's great.
Just a beautiful piece of innocence right there. Without being over the top innocence as well. It's not like, oh, you're making her over cutesy, so then I feel sad when she's dead.
Yeah.
I get you. It's like she is genuinely just like sweet.
Yeah.
And the brother is genuinely good. He's a genuinely good person.
Yeah.
He's not frustrating in any this isn't a frustrating pair.
No.
Almost when I say that I almost would like it to be longer. Not longer in the sense like, give me more of what this is. Give me more great. I almost wanted to see more of just these two. But then I think that's almost the point in the sense of like their time was cut short.
Yeah.
In life, that's like, but I didn't get enough to satisfy my viewing of them being together. It's like, well, they didn't get enough time being together.
Yeah.
So because war.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I guess in thinking that, like, again, my complaint was going to be, I didn't get more of them, but it's like, but it fits with the story they were telling.
Yeah.
Almost. Like it's a shame when Setsuko dies, and the way she does die, again, beautifully Japanese way of doing it, a beautifully East Asian way of doing it. She's led, and it's like, she's chewing on a marble, first of all.
Yeah.
So, like, she's becoming a shell of herself, really.
Yeah.
And then Seika gives her a watermelon.
Yeah.
And he leaves the watermelon there, and she says thank you for the watermelon. And he goes to cook food, and then we just have a bit of a narration going like, she never woke up.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man.
Jesus.
It's not a big thing where he sees her, and she goes, and he's like, Let's go.
Yeah.
It's not like a big thing.
It's not like she dies in his arms and she says like last words and barely gets them out. Something like that. It's not that at all. It's just a big swing and a punch you in the cheek. It really comes out of nowhere and sucker punches you in the jaw.
Yeah, and by that point it's like, well.
Yeah.
Like, can we get to just the end?
Yeah.
Because this is again not in a way of like, wrap it up, guys.
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
in a way of like, this is so painful and so heart wrenching that you just kind of like, you want it to just be easier for them, and for it to be easier for them would be for the movie to end. So you're kind of like, unrelenting this movie. Dear God.
I like, in terms of a technical way, I will say, if we're talking technically about it, I like the use of showing them in the afterlife, in the sense of red lighting.
Yeah, really cool.
And it's almost as like they are like looking at themselves.
Yeah.
Like, so it's kind of weird in the sense of like that is nice in the sense of like, even though they did die, we're kind of seeing them ultimately still happy.
Yes. Yeah.
Again, morbid because they're dead.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's like they die, then they're gone. It's like we see them like the red lit, and they're together and they're smiling.
Yeah.
So, which is interesting in the sense of like, I believe, again, I need to look more up about it, but I believe that is part of like general Japanese type of faith where like, there's not necessarily a heaven or a hell or anything, but it is more of like your soul goes on.
Yes, and I like the final image of them getting on the train. That's lovely. That's a really nice, because again, it's kind of like, it's one last thing of like uplifting a little bit. You know, we've been through this horrible thing, but you know, their spirits are reunited and they can go off and whatever, you know.
The second Ghibli film we've talked about that has a very poignant moment on trains.
Yes. Yeah. Weirdly enough, yeah.
Yeah, didn't plan that, but yeah, I guess because no, it's weird to say, as sorrowful as this film is.
Yeah.
There are still enough nice moments without feeling inauthentic to the film itself.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Which, again, it's weird in the sense, like, it still feels very Ghibli.
Yeah.
It still has some whimsy. Again, anything to do with the Fireflies stuff feels very otherworldly without being too fantasy-based.
Yeah.
Which, again, I think makes those moments a lot more joyous and happy, because that is almost like, this is what I'm familiar with Ghibli, this type of imagery and this type of like fun, you know, when they're making food and, you know, we're seeing fireflies and stuff, but then it's like, oh no, back to dodging bombs.
Yeah, back to the worst time imaginable.
It's an interesting film. Very it's a film, again, it's in that camp of a film that I would say is very good, and a film that I would even say that I love, but it's a film that I'm not sticking on constantly.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's another decade before I watch this again.
Yes.
If I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Like, it's because, again, they're not, it's like, what would you gain from constantly watching Grave of the Fireflies?
Yeah, well.
Apart from just deep depression.
Deep sadness. You know, it's probably what you'd get. Yeah.
I'll be interested. I'll be interested in looking at the book, in all honesty.
Yeah, I bet that's interesting. Yeah.
Like, seeing how that reads, because again, and like, again, I would imagine it's quite similar in this way of like, just a telling of events and stuff, and again, solid film. I don't think there's loads more to say.
No, I can't say anything about it more, to be honest. I mean, you know, I'll wrap up my thoughts in saying, very, very poignant, very bleak. Be ready to watch something sad if you're going to watch it. But, you know, prepare yourself for what the film actually is. But, yeah, for me, didn't quite connect. But I think the story it's actually trying to tell is very resonant and very impactful. And a story that should be told, you know? I can't really... I'm still conflicted on it. I'll watch it again at some point, I'm sure. But yeah.
Make it a date night with Julie.
Yeah, no, I feel like she'd probably enjoy it, to be honest.
I think she would. It does
it's
seem like
the kind of thing that she would like, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's Grave of the Fireflies, I suppose.
Grave of the Fireflies. It's again been like a lot of this season. A very different type of conversation.
Yeah.
Conversation that I think's been a good one.
It has. Do you know what? That's probably been our most thoughtful one.
It's been the most serious, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Not as many jokes. I didn't do a lot of jokks. But you can't really.
The most jokey bits have been when we talked about like when Pixar got brought. Yeah.
Fucking Pixar.
With that being said, should we move on to the intermission?
Oh, is it intermission o'clock? Yeah, let's be a bit uplifting. Well, because I need to explain some shit to you.
before you go
do you want
on,
me to go first, or do you want to go first?
Oh, hang on a minute. I've got
what's
a phone
this?
call coming in. Hang on a minute. Hello?
Oh, yes.
Hey, Oscar.
Oh, it's Marty Scorsese again.
Yay!
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Marty, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, Oscar. I just finished watching Grave of the Fireflies.
Oh, have you? How convenient. It's the film that we've just finished talking about.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, we're currently in the mission section, which, I mean, thank God that you've called during this section, because it got quite serious. But what did you think of the film, Marty?
Oh, I loved it. I really think it's one of Ghibli's best films.
Oh, really? It's so in terms of like your thoughts on Ghibli, how does it compare overall for you?
Oh, I think cinema comes in all shapes and forms, and I think, Ghibli really captured that.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, do you prefer this or Totoro?
Oh, neither. I really like Howl's Moving Castle. It's the little fire dude that really gets me going.
It really gets you going.
Yeah, it's kind of hot in both ways. Meaning. Of the word.
God, Marty, no.
Right. So, so in terms of like your feel, so would you ever consider doing a film like this?
I mean, you don't know what I got in the works right now. I can't say anything.
Oh, really? So I'm not asking for a confirmation either way, but is there a possibility that we can get a Martin Scorsese live-action Grave of the Fireflies remake?
I mean, I'm currently working on this is an exclusive. This is not going on the internet, is it?
No,
No, not at all, Marty.
No, this doesn't go anywhere.
Okay, I'm working on a film called My Neighbor Marlon Brando.
What's the premise of that?
So, My Neighbor Totoro, yeah?
Yeah.
But with Marlon Brando.
What era Marlon Brando? What are we
It's
thinking of
Big
here?
Boy Marlon Brando.
All of them.
Oh, all of them.
Every single one.
Start to finish.
So we're thinking of like Streetcar Named Desire one frame, and then another frame. We're thinking of like Don Vito.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's going to be very ambitious.
Pacino signed off on it. Pacino loves it.
Is Pacino going to play Marlon Brando?
Pacino's doing some voice acting.
Oh, okay. Who's going to be Marlon Brando?
Yeah.
Who's going to be Marlon Brando?
You don't want me to answer that.
I think I do. Now you've said that.
Well, you know what they did with Carrie Fisher in Star Wars?
Oh. Wait, which Star Wars? Rogue One?
I mean, any of the new ones, I don't watch them.
Is Star Wars not cinema?
Star Wars is not cinema.
What the fuck? End the call.
Cinema.
Get him off the phone.
Robbie is very, very livid from those comments there, Marty. About the.
I got some words for Robbie.
Oh, okay.
Okay, go on.
What's the rating on Intermission? Like PG-15?
I mean, it's explicit. I just clicked the explicit on the podcast set.
I just want to say I feel left out from the Team Robbie meeting.
Wait, is Martin Scorsese Team Robbie?
It's almost like he forgot about it,
So a couple of questions. Are you officially Team Robbie?
I was never Team Robbie. I was just trying to suck up, and now he's upset me.
Oh dear.
Oh my god.
And I just want to say this as well. Are you? I feel that this is a bit embarrassing to say this, but the fact I want to say that when me and Robbie were in the midst of editing our final major projects, are you familiar with Love, Bethany?
Oh, I really think that film is cinema.
Excellent.
What
about Story of Love? What about Story of Love and Interplanetary Warfare?
Oh yeah, it's good. I like it.
You fucking prick, Martin Scorsese.
He called you a fucking prick. I will relay that information to you there. But when we were editing those films, we had a little picture of you over our computers that said "This is cinema" to motivate us. Again, I'm not sure. I wanted to say professional, but I also just want to say big fan, Marty. And you truly motivate us to make the films that we truly did.
You know what, Oscar? You motivate me.
I motivate you, Marty. Oh,
Yeah.
Shucks.
And before you were born, and I was making Mean Streets, I thought of you.
You thought of me while you were making Mean Streets before I was born.
And every time I shit on Star Wars, I think of Robbie.
Fuck this guy, man.
Right. Final two questions, Marty.
Oh,
before,
God.
because I assume again, how is Leo? By the way, how's Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah.
Yum.
He wanted to be Brando.
He wanted to be Brando. I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said, Brand, no.
You said brand no. Okay, good stuff.
Very good stuff.
Okay. So, question about Grave of the Fireflies. Is Grave of the Fireflies cinema?
Yeah, cinema. We've been over there. It's good.
Yeah.
I like it. Don't forget about it.
Is anime cinema?
Yes, but you're a weeb if you like it.
But okay. You're a weeb if you like anime, but it is cinema. So are you a weeb?
Yeah.
Is Martin Scorsese a weeb?
Hey, oh, the line's really bad. Oh no.
Okay.
All right, I'm great. I've got to go, Oscar.
Oh, okay, Marty. Okay, I'll see. Hopefully, hear from you next time.
Yeah, see ya.
See you when you lose
Forget
the rest of
about
bitch.
it.
Fucking hate that guy. I fucking hate that dude. You know what? Dickhead, mate. Is a right amount of dickhead that I thought he was. You know.
One thing I was going to say, Robbie, before I got a phone call, before Martin
go on,
Scorsese
sorry,
once
yeah.
again called me, is your audio level still all good? Because you sound a bit.
Am I a bit distorted?
You sound a little bit, yeah.
Oh yeah, I am peaking.
Oh no, what am I peeking at?
You,
Right, it's
Did
turn
you
the
get
gain
that?
down. Yeah, I am. I'm sorry. I'm like, my levels are like really fucking high for no reason.
you sound
been
okay now.
Yeah, I've just turned it down.
Yeah.
I must have been slowly creeping my way up throughout the podcast. So good luck. With that,
I
Lewis.
heard. No, Lewis isn't editing this one.
Oh
week.
yeah. Oh sorry.
It's me.
Well, sorry, man. Good luck to you. Apologies.
Purely because I don't have the time this week. Because I'm out on the Friday night because of birthday boy Tyler's birthday.
Yeah,
his
birthday
actual
boy, the
birthday.
podcast.
And yeah, so I wouldn't have time to edit it on the Friday night, and then on Saturday I need to be preparing for the wrestling. So
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah.
so literally my Friday morning and afternoon is going to be editing and uploading this. So
Damn.
yeah, to which I said to Lewis, I was like, "Sorry, mate, not going to have time this week," and he was like, "It's fine. It gets me more time to work on my bit."
Yeah.
So Lewis is working on something.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that is very exciting.
Anyway,
Who's going first with their intermission bits? Or
do you want to go for? What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I can go first. Because I've got two bits. One of them's very.
I like
very
how
short.
I like how the intermission is now started just becoming show and tell.
Yeah, it's basically show and tell for the week. I want to start my intermission segment off with showing Dwayne Johnson being a fucking moron. so I don't. Yeah, he's got a movie coming out. I need Black Adam comes out. When's
Don't I know it? I got a billboard over my road, and that's how I
Yeah.
remember. That's how I remember the film existed.
when's it coming out?
October 27th.
Oh, okay. I mean, so here's the thing with Black Adam.
21st. Again, the only reason why I remember, I see it every time I walk out my house.
Yeah, exactly, right. So, let me talk to you about Black Adam and how stupid this movie is, right? I imagine the film will come out and it'll be fine and it'll make $1 bazillion because it's The Rock. But here's the thing, man. And so this is gonna be spoilers for a movie that no one wants to see, even though they're spoiled themselves.
I mean, I'm gonna see it, but
I'm gonna see it as well. But do you care about this? Can I do a little?
oh no.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. So basically, The Rock has is making himself out to be DC Jesus. He's like going, I'm saving the DC universe.
Not even DC Feige, DC Jesus.
No, he's
Yeah.
been DC Jesus. He's coming in and he's been like, I'm saving this cinematic universe, and I've always, my entire career, I've just always been about listening to the fans and what the fans want. Not true. So
that is not true. He's listened to wrestling fans and he's done 70% of what they want.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So obviously, since the fucking Snyder Cut and that whole fiasco, which obviously makes me angry anyway, fans have been clamoring, going, "Hey man, what's going on with Henry Cavill as Superman? Is Henry Cavill still Superman?" Blabbity bloobity blabbity blue. For anyone who doesn't know, The Rock and Henry Cavill own a tequila business together.
Do they?
Yeah, they have a brand of tequila together. So they're friends, right?
Right.
And throughout the fucking marketing campaign for this movie, The Rock has been like saying about, maybe people have been like, maybe will we ever see Black Adam versus like Superman for like Henry Cavill Superman? And he's been going like, never say never. He's back. Henry Cavill's back. What do you want?
Oh, is he in the film?
He's in the post-credit scene of the movie. He shows up and he's like, "Hello, we need to have a fight in the sequel." But what's annoying about this is two things. The Rock is going, "This is the fight that everybody wants to see," and it's like hyping it up, going like, "The Black Adam versus Superman is the fight all the comic DC fans want to see." Black Adam is Shazam's villain.
Shazam.
He's Shazam's nemesis. He looks like Shazam. The costume is the same, but black, because he's Shazam's villain, you fucking idiot. He clearly doesn't know anything about what he's doing, and he's just going, "I'm just giving the fans what they want." No, you're not. You're doing what will make the most money. Because when people hear that Superman's then they're gonna go see it, because they want to see Superman again.
Yeah.
It's so fucking blatantly like, I'm not doing this for anyone except money. And it's just stupid.
The Rock is the smartest businessman of this generation.
Yeah. No, he's a businessman.
Yeah.
He's not a director, he's not a writer, he's barely an actor.
He came to prominence as a wrestler, and and I want to say he came into prominence as a WWE wrestler who are more based around big character being a big star. So he became a mega. He didn't become a great sportsman. He became
a big star.
He became a superstar, and then he got into films, and he realized he could do exactly what he's doing in wrestling, but without as much injury probability. So let me quit wrestling when I'm 29.
Yeah.
No, no, he might have been 31. He was young when he quit wrestling, but he was still a massive star. He was like, you know what? I'll just be an actor instead. And he's become mad.
The Rock.
He's become highest grossing motherfucker.
Yeah.
Again. And he's not a total dickhead, but he could be a moron. Is all I'm saying.
The bit about it, and I would like to point this out. I'd like to point this out as a PSA, as a public service announcement to everyone when you hear him talking about it. The exact quote I have seen him use in at least 6 interviews just today, because the premiere was last night or whatever. Like the press screening was last night.
Yeah.
I've seen him use this fucking quote like 5 times. And I just want everybody to know that what he's saying doesn't make sense. He said, right?
Did he say Black Adam is cinema?
No, he didn't say that. Dear God, he didn't say that. He said, Black Adam is the most powerful being on Earth, right? And he says, but the most powerful being in the universe has been on the sidelines for too long, right? Which is his way of skirting around. It's like the hint of Superman's going to be in the movie. Superman's in it, and he's coming back. He's been on the sidelines for too long. Hey, The Rock, here's the thing. Earth is in the universe, you fucking idiot. If Superman is the most powerful being in the universe, he's also the most powerful being on Earth, you fucking moron.
He could mean in the sense of like, no, this is not what. No, he's still
wrong.
With saying,
He's incorrect.
But what he could mean by that in the sense of like, Superman isn't on Earth. he's on Krypton. So universe. Whereas like Black Adam's the most powerful person on Earth because Black Adam is on Earth, but isn't Black Adam not from Earth?
Black Adam is from Egypt or something.
Oh, okay. So he can mean that in that sense, in the sense of like, oh, he's the most powerful thing from Earth.
Yeah.
But he's not the most powerful thing within the universe.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, but the way you said doesn't make any sense.
But the fact we're trying to discuss the semantics of this.
Yeah, it's just
says.
I hear it and it keeps annoying me because I'm like, Earth is in the universe. You're a fucking idiot. And I've seen the post-credit scene. It leaked last night because, of course, it did. It's Henry Cavill and he's got a new suit.
The film literally comes out next week. I've just realised that.
He's got a new suit, but it's the Man of Steel suit, but it's just like all the colours are like actually look like the colours are supposed to be. And
so we got saturation.
Yeah, there's saturation in the suit, and he's got the little curl.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because that's what we will miss.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, my other bit of the intermission, and then which will probably be longer and less coherent. So apologies in advance. The She-Hulk finale was today. Dear God,
I got a minute. Let me just
prepare yourself. Hang on. If you've got a sip of any alcohol or something, then, go for that.
Oh, no, I'm drinking tomorrow night, Robbie. I'm not.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not.
Okay, yeah, no, don't touch it.
So no, all right.
You
okay,
ready? You're locked in.
Yeah.
Okay, let's give you some context. What's the context I need to give? Okay, there's been.
I thought you forgot the context.
No,
what is this?
There was a.
What am I talking about? Fuck now.
There was a bit earlier in the season where some guys jumped She-Hulk in the street and tried to steal her blood, and then they couldn't pierce her skin with a needle, so they were like, the boss ain't going to be happy, and then they went off, and we didn't see him for a while. Next, she was getting abused online by an online. It's basically a Reddit group called Intelligentsia, where it was just a load of weird, strange males being like, she's fucking, she's so ugly, and fucking, I don't mind being a female superhero, but why do you have to steal the powers from the Hulk? Basically, the commentary, the really, really subtle and really well nuanced commentary is, this is what people have been saying about the show on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's that. We get it, right? Earlier in the season, she went on a date with a guy from the movie Baywatch.
The Rock.
No, not The Rock, and not Zac Efron, the ugly one.
David Hasselhoff.
The one where the one joke about the guy in the movie is that he's the ugly one.
Do you remember? Right. Slight detour.
Sorry, yeah,
for like a brief second.
Yes.
First of all, remember when Baywatch came out? And second of all, do you remember when like David Hasselhoff's cameo was he was in a car phone warehouse talking to The Rock, being like, "Be a lifeguard again," and then he became a lifeguard again.
I do, and it was fantastic. The joke being the joke being he's the ugly one from Baywatch. That fucking guy. He was in it as a guy called Todd who was like a billionaire or whatever. Forgot to mention when I was talking about Intelligentsia. It's run by an admin known as Hulk King, right? So so the big mystery. Oh, who's Hulk King? It's Todd, right? As soon as he showed up, I was like, it's probably Todd, right? Because they went on a date and he was like, "Wow, you are a specimen." Blah 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 blah.
Right.
And it's like, so he wanted the blood, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, fucking Christ, She-Hulk had slept with a dude called Josh who she thought was really nice. Turned out he filmed her while she was asleep or whatever, and posted it on Intelligentsia, and while she was asleep stole her blood. So that was the big setup, being like, oh my god, Intelligentsia have the blood like they wanted all along. Josh was a bad guy, because obviously he was a bad guy. And whatever, right? Smash cuts to the finale, Oscar. That's all the context I think you need. No, it's not. In the last episode, there was a bit at the end where she went to this gala thing, and then she won an award.
Hulk.
Yes, She-Hulk won an award for best female. She was nominated for Best Female Lawyer of the Year, and then it said that she won, and then it turned out that all the nominees won, and it was very like, you women, you're really trying, eh? It was one of those sort of things.
Okay.
Anyway, she went up on stage, big screen behind her, was hacked by intelligentsia, and that video of her asleep, the video of her having sex with Josh leaked online, and then she got real angry and started punching things, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, she's a monster!"
We're doing. It's one of those, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So finale starts. She wakes up in prison. Oh my god! And they're like, "You can't be She-Hulk anymore. Here's an inhibitor, or whatever." Fucking
No.
I don't fucking no. Anyway, her best friend's been investigating intelligentsia. She's like, she can't get a hold of Hulk, so she tries to get a hold of Abomination, Tim Roth himself, who's like a health guru now. So she's like, I'm gonna go stay at his cabin for a mental health check-in or whatever for a bit. So she goes there. This isn't even getting to like the fucking madness of it. She goes there. He's not there. She doesn't know where he is. Meanwhile, her best friend's been investigating intelligentsia, finds out there's a meeting going on. She goes to the meeting. Oh my god, Abomination's at the meeting. Whoa. Find out Todd is Hulk King Godoy. And then Jen finds the meeting and says, "Oh my god, Abomination, you're a part of this. This is ridiculous. Oh my god, Todd, you're Hulk King. This is crazy." But she keeps breaking the fourth wall because that's what she does, and she looks at the camera and she goes, "This is kind of shit as a finale." And I'm sat there thinking,
yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. You're right. You're bang on. And then Todd injects himself with the blood and starts turning into a big Hulk dude. And then she's looking at the Abomination picks her up to save her, and then Hulk just falls in through the roof out of nowhere. Bear in mind, for the whole show he's been in space and we haven't seen him since. He just bangs in through the roof and is like, "Get your hands off her!" And Abomination's like, "It's not what it looks like, man. Chill the fuck out." They start fighting. She looks at the camera and she's like, "This is ridiculous. None of these plot lines make any sense. Where the fuck has Hulk just come from?"
To which you're like, "Yeah."
Which I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. Bang on. Yeah, cool. Nice one." And it's just like, and we're really going to do the bad guy gets the hero's powers and then they have a big CGI fight. We're really doing that? That's kind of lazy or whatever. And I'm like, what? But you can't just make fun of it and do it. That's Anyway, so she goes, is this working for you guys? And then the show shuts down and the Disney Plus home screen comes up, right?
Right.
At which point, She-Hulk punches her way out of the icon for the She-Hulk show on the Disney Plus homepage and goes, "Right, where am I going?" And then she goes into one of the behind-the-scenes documentaries for one of the Marvel movies. I think it's Shang-Chi. She goes into that, lands in Disney in the real world, and walks into the She-Hulk writer's room and goes, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" And all the writers are like, "Oh, come on, man. It's just like, there's certain things that have to happen in a superhero thing." And just like, this fucking sucks. And then she's like, they go, "Well, this is the story that Kevin wanted." And she's like, "Well, I want to speak to Kevin." So then she goes to the fucking main offices.
Does actual Kevin Feige show up in the show?
This is what I was getting excited about. She busts into the office, and it's just like, it's like a it's like a GLaDOS robot AI with a little cap on. I
so want you to say, "And then there's Chris Evans with a cap on."
It's just this weird GLaDOS robot thing with like a built-in baseball cap on. That's like, it turns out he's the AI that runs the MCU, and it's like, "I've got an algorithm that makes pretty good content." And I was sat watching it being like, "What the fuck is happening? What the fuck is this?" And then She-Hulk is like, this sucks," and like starts arguing with it. And the robot's all like, "Oh man, what would you propose?" or whatever. And she's like,
is the last act of this episode just a pitch?
Yeah. It's a picture of what the finale should have been, right? But bear in mind, this happens like 10 minutes into the episode, and there's 20 minutes
really?
left, right? So this conversation with this fucking Kevin Feige robot goes, and which is
Feige
like,
bot. Feige bot.
Feige bot 9000. She's talking to it, and she's like asking it all these questions, and she's saying like, by giving Todd powers, you're making the fact he has powers the threat. That's not the threat. He is the threat. Why isn't it just character based or whatever? And it's like, it doesn't matter about me fighting a big green dude. What matters is the fact I was just getting getting a balance on when to be Jen and when to be She-Hulk and enjoying it, and then it's being stripped away from me. Those are my stakes or whatever, and all this. And then he's all like, well, what would you propose? And she's like, Hulk doesn't need to be here. Get him out of here. Him coming in and saving the day in my finale is ridiculous. Get him away. So he gets erased. And it's just like, Todd doesn't become a Hulk because that's stupid. So that goes away. Fucking other things. And she's like, could we see Daredevil again maybe? Because like, he's pretty fit. She's like, can we see Daredevil again because a woman has needs or something? And then she winks at the camera and something. So then Kevin's like, do you have anything else that you want from me? And she's like, when are we getting the X-Men? And he's like, I can't tell you that. And she's like, nah. Come on. And so, like, things like that, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. And then he's like, yeah, you need to leave now. And then so then she goes back into the show. Right? She goes back into the She-Hulk show. And the finale's finished. So, like, Todd's being arrested. And she's like, I'll see you in court. Or whatever. And then Abomination's being taken back to prison. And then Matt Murdock just falls out of the sky. And is like, and is like, I'm here to help. And she's like, you missed it, dude. I don't know. But, you know, whatever. And then cut to, they're having a family barbecue and Daredevil's meeting the parents and whatever. And then Hulk shows up and is like, hey, everyone, I have a surprise. I'd like you to meet my son, Scar. That's why he's been in space, is because he found out that he had a son.
Right.
You can't... Right, okay. Here's my issue with it. Is it a funny concept? Yeah, I guess, is my answer to that. But you can't just say, this finale's shit, and then break the fourth wall for 20 minutes, and talk about how you would do a better finale, and then cut to that finale being over. Because then, nothing has happened. For the last 35 minutes of my life, there has been nothing
then
going
they had
on.
they had like a Fast and Furious barbecue at the end.
Yeah. And I guess Daredevil and She-Hulk are dating now. I guess they're an item. I don't know. I have no idea.
Which throws into question, what the fuck is his show gonna be? Is he gonna be a funny man now?
I don't know.
Because that's not what we like the Netflix show for at all.
Exactly. And like, what is anything that happened in that finale canon at all?
That's true.
You can't do that in an established series. It just doesn't make sense. And like, now I'm gonna be watching everything being like, well, this isn't a real. These aren't. As much as it's like, it's still, you know, obviously the MCU isn't real. But to the reality of those movies are real. Do you know what?
I know what you mean. I like how you went, obviously the MCU isn't real. I kind of want like, that's all. I feel like that's like you looking in the mirror one day, trying to like come to real myself. Like, just like, Robbie, obviously the MCU isn't real.
But like, in the reality of those movies, the stories that are being told are real. But now I'm going to be watching Captain America Civil War going, yeah, but this is all just being designed by a weird AI with a hat. Oh,
I don't think you need to think about that deeply,
well, no,
man.
but it's like,
is
he God?
But you weren't like, but it's right. Listen,
like in the canon.
What Feige bot? Yes, he's God. Fuck it. Why not? Right.
In the canon of the MCU, everything isn't real. Nothing is real.
But the thing is, Robbie, And again, I haven't seen She-Hulk. I've no plan on it, so I'm not defending the thing. But what I'm saying is, when Deadpool comes out, he's going to do a lot of similar type of things.
And it's fine with Deadpool.
But why not with She-Hulk?
Because Deadpool is a weird little pocket of stuff where nothing really needs to matter. That's why.
But haven't they just established She-Hulk as that as well, though?
No, not really, because they toe the line with it. That's what annoys me about it.
Because you got Hulk in there, like doing like Hulk.
They toe the line where they're like they don't commit to the fourth wall stuff. And I said it when like the first episode came out. I was like, I'm gonna be fine with the fourth wall breaks because they were kind of jarring in the first couple of episodes, and I watched it and I was kind of like, I'm gonna be fine with breaking the fourth wall if there's a reason for it, apart from just being quirky and having a niche for the show. So like a show like Fleabag is the most, it's the only thing I can compare it to because it's a show about what it means to be a woman in the 21st century, and they're dealing with the same themes and breaking the fourth wall and whatever. Fleabag breaks the fourth wall because her best friend died and she's a lonely character and she wants to talk to us, the audience. That's why that is. And there's a good few times in the show where you see flashbacks to her when her friend was alive and she looks to her friend as she looks to us for the rest of the show, and you realize, oh, it's because her friend isn't there anymore. She needs someone to talk to, so she has us. And then so that means when she, at the end of the first series, when the shit starts going off for her and she starts running away from the camera and the camera's kind of following her and invading her privacy, it's her being like she doesn't want to be watched anymore or whatever. And then at the end of the show, this is spoilers for Fleabag, I guess. Right at the end of the show, she walks away and she does like a knowing look to us because she doesn't need us anymore because she's past it. And that is beautiful and so poignant and so amazingly done in that show that it's like the breaking the fourth wall stuff is so integral to the story that's being told and so relevant. Whereas this, it's just kind of like, wouldn't it be funny if she spoke to a robot with a hat for a bit?
But also, you weren't going to think She-Hulk was going to be Fleabag, though.
Could have been. It could have been.
Yeah, but they weren't going to. But the thing is, that was never going to be a thing. That was never.
The comics
are going to be. No, but Marvel screen stuff don't ever do anything other than doing Marvel screen stuff.
Disagree though.
And very baseline.
Disagree.
We know what we're doing. Like Shang-Chi didn't do a Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan film. Shang-Chi did a bit of it, and they went, but we need to also be a Marvel film. And things like that. Winter Soldier did, we're going to be a spy film, but we're stopping at a point because we're also good that we need to be a superhero Marvel film. And I think She-Hulk, it's like, I mean, we do something like Fleabag, but we need to be kind of like
I get
disposable like, Marvel bullshit.
It's so like when you do it where it's like, we're kind of doing the fourth wall breaking thing, but it doesn't really mean anything and it's kind of irrelevant until the last episode where you just break the whole show. It's bizarre to be like, she makes little jibes at the camera every now and again, and at the end it's literally like, oh no, she breaks out of the show that she's aware that she's in somehow. And it's never explained how she can do that. In the comics, I'm not massively familiar, but I think originally in the comics, it was the She-Hulk personality was aware that they were in a comic book. Jen Walters herself wasn't, but She-Hulk was. Right. Whereas in this show, it's never explained. We never see her before she became She-Hulk. Well, actually, we do. I can't remember if she breaks the fourth wall in that scene. It'd be interesting if she did. But it's like, it's not like a thing where she gets the powers and suddenly she's aware that she's in a TV show. She just kind of is the whole time.
Yeah.
And then she leaves that show to come to the real world at the end miraculously and shout at a robot or something.
Feige bot.
Yeah.
I feel like it was far too long on She-Hulk.
It was far too long. I apologize to everyone who doesn't care. which includes me, I guess. I don't know.
And me.
I don't know. I apologize, but I just saw it and was like,
but also the thing that I feel like your rant there was a lot more entertaining than this show ever would be.
Well, it's so baffling that I have to talk about it, and you kind of can't skip over details.
You don't have to talk about it.
Well, I don't have to talk about it, but when something like that happens, where it's like, oh yeah, she goes and talks to a Kevin Feige robot.
But also you're doing a video as well, which causes you to have to watch this all.
Oh god, no! I'm not watching She-Hulk again. I've been making notes on it every week so that I know.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Okay.
This is why you're watching it.
Yeah,
you could have just not watched
it. I could have just not watched it, I guess. Yeah,
But
I
yeah.
suppose. Anyway, what do you want to talk about?
But I just want to say Reese Bruce has sent a thing to the chat. And
It's not Martin, is it?
Yeah. This might explain how like Marty's erratic behavior earlier on the call. He was saying that Martin Scorsese says the box office obsession is repulsive and insulting. Quote, cinema is devalued, demeaned, belittled from all sides. Not necessarily the business side, but certainly the art. Since the 80s, there's been a focus on numbers. It's kind of repulsive. Maybe, he's a bit erratic, he's just got frustrated with box office all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, you know what, Martin? Maybe if you made a fucking good movie, it'd make some money. No, he didn't. 5 of them in the last decade. His last 5 films were good. Martin, maybe if the Irishman... maybe if the Irishman actually did anything and made any money, then you'd probably not be saying shit like that, would you? You fucking pleb.
Well, it was also a Netflix release, so
I don't fucking care. It got cinema released.
You barely.
Yeah,
barely.
Well, that's on him.
Anyway. What I want to talk about is the first thing I want to talk about. I've got 2 things. The first thing will be a joint discussion, Robbie.
Yes.
I watched Werewolf by Night.
Oh boy, did we! Yes.
What do you think? We haven't even talked about this at all. So together. So I don't even know what he thinks about this, and vice versa.
One second, I'm just messaging Juliet.
Girlfriend of the podcast, Julia Colley.
Girlfriend of the podcast, Julia Colley. I thought Werewolf by Night was interesting, promising for the future of things like this.
Mm-hmm.
I think stylistically and directorially really strong.
Yeah.
The story.
Big up Giacchino.
Yeah, big up Giacchino. Score was so. Oh my god.
Oh, good.
The score is so good.
Which is not saying anything new with a Giacchino score.
No, it's usually good. I mean, I'll be able to talk about this more Marvel centric-y, but I think story wise, it was a little bit whatever for me.
Yeah.
There was and again we'll be doing spoilers for this. The really, really obvious segment of we need the characters to talk to each other and get an idea for each other and bond a little bit segment of the show where they miraculously got locked in a room where it was not made clear at all that the door would lock if it was closed. So there was no tension there. And then they get out because of a miraculous thing that the character suddenly remembers. And it's like, oh, okay, that scene was just there so that they could bond. It's kind of...
my thing with that is because obviously the film is trying to be a tribute to 30s horror.
Yeah.
So that's stuff like that, really. Campy, can't get away with it a bit.
Yeah, I think overall I really enjoyed it. I think the script was just a little bit lazy at times, but it's whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of my thing with it as well. It's it's a little thing that I would like to see more of this type of stuff.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I remember when you told me about it. That's how I found out about it. Where it's they're gonna be doing a Disney Plus 1 hour special, and it's gonna be. I'm like, oh, that's so cool! Like a little Halloween. Again, big. I love this time of the year where we'll be talking about one thing. I'll be talking about one thing after this that is kind of become a bit of an annual seasonal tradition almost lately. So I'm always a fan of just Halloween specials or holiday specials where it's let's just sit down and watch a thing. And I like the fact it's only an hour. I like the fact it's I'm in and out. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
The things that like I couldn't quite really get on board with was the fact like there was a lot of storytelling things that was happening that felt very so. We need to have this in because we need to try to explain stuff and weave stuff in to the MCU. We need stuff to like. That's how it felt to me in the sense of like, it just feels a bit like I don't know, like it doesn't feel. Because Lewis was saying to me, I'm not sure how true this is or like how like accurate it is, but he was saying to me apparently they want to do almost like that little subsection of MCU of like keep doing annual 1 hour horror based specials, but with other characters.
Not that I've heard.
Right. Okay. So I don't know if this is a complete one-off and this is it or whatever.
Yeah.
But how it did feel was more like, is this trying to be the first step to set up other things? Well, I would have liked it to be a bit more contained feeling-wise. I don't know. Like, because, again, I don't know, just bits and pieces like that felt like a bit too, like, okay, I can see you want to try to set up other things with this. Well, I'm like, I just kind of wanted just a bit of, like, a fun little werewolfy thing. Yeah. And I feel like, because obviously they shot this, well, people are like, it's so authentically like visual. I'm like, they went black and white.
Yeah, they make it look like it's film stock, but it's shot. It's kind of shot digitally and.
It's shot digitally. They have they have like the cigarette burns, but in my head, it's like it's a weird thing to say, but like it still looks digital to me.
Yeah,
and
it does. Yeah.
The aspect ratio of how wide screen it is still feel. Again, it's little things that only I would fucking notice. Where I'm like, I would have liked it to be 4:3.
Yeah, same.
Especially with it being meant to be like a Halloween television special. It's like, well, it would be 4:3.
Yeah,
because that's just how what tellies were then.
Yeah,
so I like that. But it's whatever. I like the practical effects of the wolf. Again, it looked a little bit. I
was so glad it was practical.
But
that made me so happy.
I like that. I liked how bloody it was.
Yes.
I like the kills. There was a good few kills in there with me and Lewis because I watched it with Lewis and Gary right before we did the Halloween binge. We watched that and there was a good few times where I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And it's like I like that. I like it. I like it. It didn't feel sanitary.
Yes.
In terms of, so I was like, okay, this is cool. I like this. I think they could get away with it because it is black and white. Even though it is rated 15,
I think get away with what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not as like gruesome. Other things as well because it wasn't fully black and white. You had the color of the stone and stuff. So it's like, I get what you're doing, but it doesn't. Obviously, that's not what it would have been if it was a 30s.
Yeah.
Again, little things like that don't kill the mood for me, but it doesn't make me fully feel like I'm watching a full-on tribute to it.
Okay.
You know, like again, like how like with Robert Eggers when he did The Lighthouse, he used actual film stock and he used lenses from the time period, and he did the aspect. He used all the equipment that would have been used in that type of time period. They just had Marvel equipment. They had Disney. They had Disney equipment that they made look a little bit thingy. I said to Lewis, what was really odd with Man Thing was he looked bad in black and white, but in color he looked fantastic, fine, which is usually the opposite with CGI.
Yeah, I didn't know. Because to me, and it's weird because there's been a behind the scenes photo, and there is a practical Man Thing.
Oh, I didn't see it in the film, though.
Well, that's what I mean. To me, I think I was looking at it being like, was he CG in the black and white, and then in that last in color scene, it was a practical suit, but then just like enhanced with CG.
He might have been, yeah.
Because
he was sat, wasn't because he was sat.
He was just sat down. Yeah, he wasn't doing anything particular. So I don't know, but he looked great in color, and I agree. In black and white, he looked kind of weird and rubbery and whatever. But I mean, for me, I would say, and I kind of guess this lets me. This is a good excuse to talk about Marvel news that just popped into my head. They are massively pumping the brakes on when things are coming out.
Cool.
Fucking excellent. Good. My God, good. Lots of things have been delayed by about 6 months. Just to kind of spread everything out. And the kind of report off the back of the success of Werewolf by Night now is that a lot of Disney Plus shows are being reconsidered and re-looked over as being, does this need to be a show or can this be a special?
Again, that's what I mean. I love the
amazing.
fact of like we just got a 1 hour Halloween television special.
Yeah.
This is it.
Well, that's what I
Boom.
mean. Like, when you need to introduce a new character, you don't need to do a 6-hour series. You can do a 1 hour special, introduce the character, introduce the world that they live in, and that's that done. And then they can show up in a movie, and if you want to know who they were, you can just go and watch the fucking thing on Disney Plus, and it's fine.
Gael Garcia Bernal, I love him anyway.
Oh, he was great. He's so
great.
good.
He's great as Jack Russell.
Yeah, fantastic. By the way, very good stuff.
Yes, love it. He's great. And again, I didn't get loads of him. That I'm sick of him. But I'm like, he's got this cool little like Han and Chewie thing with Man Thing as well.
I love it.
Which I'm like, cool, nice one.
I love
and
Man
again,
Thing. I think he's great.
Yeah, and again, I'm a fan of like. I'm not sure if I've probably discussed it on the podcast, but you know what I'm like. I like horror-y things.
Yeah.
I geek out on that type of stuff. And again, it's like, especially classic monster-based things. And I'm like, nice. We got a werewolf. Fucking
exactly.
I like that as well. Like, we've got a Marvel hero that's just a werewolf.
Just randomly a werewolf for whatever reason.
I'm like, sure.
Whatever.
And again, in the film, does it go again? There's some interesting cinematography elements. The shot that sticks on my head is the transformation sequence, which again shows. I don't know. I forgot the character's name. The actress in it.
Elsa
in
Bloodstone.
Yeah, when she's trying to carry her away, and we're getting flashing lights, and we're seeing the shadow, and it's cool stuff. Again, enjoyable. It's nothing that blew me away.
Yeah, but it's good stuff.
But
I'd like to see more of that. Like looking back now, I'm like, did Moon Knight need to be a 6-hour series, or could it have just been one of these where we introduced Moon Knight? But like, I think particularly, I think
get Morbius in this style.
Oh my god, get a Morbius in here, absolutely. But I would love to see, going off the back of this, if you're gonna bring these characters into the movies, and you're gonna and they have said they're trying to expand the horror side of the MCU as one of the kind of, you've got your like spy thriller ones of like, your Captain America films and your Black Widows and your whatever, and just space shit of Guardians and all that. They want to have a little horror corner,
which I'm fine with,
which is cool. And I would love to see a team up movie. If we're gonna do a team, if we're gonna do like a Midnight Suns, is a mystical team in the comics. Hey man, a Blade, a team of Blade, Jack Russell, Man Thing, Elsa. I don't fucking know, throw Moon Knight in there, and fucking Kit Harington from Eternals.
Sure.
There you go.
Sure.
I'd see that. That'd be great.
Just give me a Doctor Strange get thrown in there, wouldn't he? Though.
Yeah, probably.
Because spooky. Because apparently, Multiverse of Madness was a horror.
Yeah, if you like. Throw Ghost Rider in there. Go on.
Sure.
Go on.
Who recently said they would want to be Ghost Rider?
Fucking everyone. Norman Reedus has wanted it for ages. Gosling really wants it, apparently. And Keanu Reeves has now come out and said he wants to be Ghost Rider as well.
It was Keanu. Out of all three of those, I would rather Keanu.
Absolutely Keanu every time.
Because
every day the goddamn week.
Because I feel like Norman Reedus would think he's really cool and badass doing it. Ryan Gosling would be Ryan Gosling as Ghost Rider, but I think that Keanu Reeves would actually know the camp to have with it.
Yeah, exactly. and
Constantine.
They're doing another Constantine.
They are. Is it with Keanu?
Yes. It's a sequel to the Keanu one.
I haven't seen that. I heard it was shit.
It's great. I love that movie.
I heard it was shit, but the more I'm hearing about it, the more I look into Constantine, when I just see it, I'm like, oh, is it shit? Because it came out like in like the mid 2000s, and it was like very mid 2000s gothic. That like certain people were very like, fuck this. But like in hindsight, it's like, but in hindsight, kids like me would be like, this is sick.
I've got it. We'll watch it one day.
That'll be fun. That'll be that'll be good as time. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
But but the one thing I want to talk about, the other thing, it won't be as long because I assume you haven't watched this, Robbie.
Go
on. The new Mike Flanagan show came out.
Oh, I haven't watched this, no.
So I'm not going to say any spoilers about it. So The Midnight Club. What do I think of this? Obviously, I'm a big Mike Flanagan fan. I said a few weeks ago, love Horn of Hill House. Absolutely love that show. Midnight Mass is really good as well. I'm a big fan of his films as well. I rewatched Doctor Sleep the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Love that. Love that flick. I'm just a big Mike Flanagan guy, so the fact the fact every year now he's releasing just another show.
Yeah.
I'm like, sure, let's
Cool.
do it. It's spooky season when Mike Flanagan has a show coming out on Netflix, and this show, I'm hearing a lot of split things about it in terms of how people are feeling, and I think it really depends how well you resonate with it in a sense. A lot of people are kicking off because it's like there's barely any horror in this, and yeah, this is his least scary thing he's done. But the books that this show is based on, which I had a little look, they're like, I don't know the time period they came out, but they're more like YA books type of thing.
Yeah.
So it is more teenage horror. Like they're rated 15. So the show is a 15 rating. So it's not 12A, but it's not like holy shit. It's an 8. What?
The connection was lost.
Well,
I hope I'm not just talking over the top of Oscar. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, friend. You alright?
Are you good? You just started looking about. I was like, are you good there?
No, I lost connection for a second.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was saying, obviously, this is a 15 rated show, so it's not an 18 rating like some of his other previous stuff, but it's still 15, so it's still got enough of the spooky horrors in it. If you don't know the premise of it, the premise is it's about you're within like this hospice with a load of terminally ill teenagers. And every midnight they all meet up at the library to tell scary stories, type of thing. And I thought it was going to be an anthology thing, and that was going to be it. And it kind of is, kind of isn't. There is an overall through line of these teenagers overall, and about 20 minutes is the story that each of them tell.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's an hour, and they're all hour-long episodes. So it's not like the episode is the story.
The story, yeah.
It's you're getting a big narrative. And then bits of stories that they tell, which is cool. And they go through all different types of genre-based things. The first one, if you're on about fourth wall breaking type of thing, it's fun in the sense of like the first story that's told is one of the girls is telling a story and there's a jump scare, and then one of them goes like, and then it cuts back to one of them the teenagers at the table and like, really, you're gonna do that? Nice. And it goes like, just wait, and then it just becomes like, and another jump scare, and then another jump scare, and like the guy's like walking around, and he turns around, and then a jump scare, then a jump scare, then a jump scare, and then they go, and then the guy, and then cuts back, and then the one of the teenagers like, come on, you're overdoing it, this sucks, and then it cuts back to the story, then a cat false jump scare, and then cuts back, you can't do the cat scare after you've just done a load of like, so. It's
That's
fun.
pretty good. I like that.
So you get fun stuff like that, and it really depends on if you like this group of teenagers.
Oh, okay.
And I really do. I'm really in on all of these kids. Really took me a while to get used to one of them, but by the end of it all, I was like, okay, I can be fine with her, like that type of thing. It's a show that got me really emotional. That got me, because obviously with the subject matter, terminally ill teenagers.
Yeah.
I don't need to say a possibility with that.
Yeah.
But there's moments that like really fuck me up in terms of like, again, it's how you react personally to it. I know that Chris Stuckman, obviously with his, he talked about Midnight Mass. And he loved Midnight Mass. And I didn't adore Midnight. I like Midnight Mass, but with Chris Stuckman, obviously with his background of being a Jehovah's Witness, he said he could really click with that. And not to get too dark or anything, but death isn't an unfamiliar thing within my family, and especially terminally illness is not unfamiliarity. So moments like that, I think that's what clicked with me and got me quite like. Got me quite sad at points, but not in a way that we were talking about earlier with how Pixar's like, be sad. It's just a bit like, it's just
natural.
Shit. It's like, shit. And again, obviously, it's horror based as well, so Mike Flanagan does a really good job at mixing grief with horror, and the show can feel very fun, popcorny, but also really sad, melancholic. There's the twist. There's a twist. that as soon as a character came on screen, I was like, that's going to be that character. And then by the end, it's like, go on, say it. And it goes, you're that character. And they go, yes, I am. And it goes, well, yeah, I knew that.
Well,
like,
yeah, good on
so it's not like there's no like moments where I'm like, wait, what? It's like, come on.
Yeah.
But I was fine enough. But I was fine enough with it, and almost knowing that the show is kind of based on young adult novels, I'm like, this will be if I was like a teenager and I was a fan of these books, I would be well into this show because it's like, it's a big budget Netflix thing that doesn't feel like doesn't feel it's looking down on the material. Like, again, there's a few corny bits, but again, they're teenagers, so it's you can get away with it in the sense of like, this is a bit fun and goofy, and like, a bit like Stand By Me or like that type of thing where it's a bit like it's a group of mates and let's tell scary stories and all that stuff, and good time. It's good. I would be lying if I said all the episodes were amazingly paced. Like, I didn't binge this show. I did 3 episodes a day type of thing.
Okay, yeah.
It's 10 episodes altogether, so it is quite a big show as well for Mike Flanagan. The only 10 episode show he did was Haunted of Hill House, and the other 2 he did were 8 or 9. So
right, okay.
One thing I will say as well, because I just assumed this was a limited miniseries, and the ending of the last episode happened. I'm like, oh, that was a very interesting way of doing it. Apparently, Mike Flanagan wants there to be more. He wants this to be which is the first for him to do multiple seasons.
Yeah.
He said that we probably won't know until a month or so.
Right.
It depends on what Netflix wants to do. But he said the fact that there are so many Midnight Club books and there's so many other stories. Again, I think it is a bit goosebumpsy in terms of the layout. It's like in terms of the books and stuff. And there are so many other stories to tell that we would like to do. The show is designed to be multiple seasons, and the show is set in the mid-90s. So even if you wanted to do what it did and be now in the modern day, or it could be the hospice is still a thing, but it's just a different cast of kids.
Yeah.
You could do that. You could do that or whatever. Or maybe 1 or 2 it came back because, death and all that.
Yeah.
And just a new, there's loads to do with it. And I almost would, and I would like there to be more. Again, it's nothing I'm not I'm chomping at the bit and I'm a massive, huge fan of it. But I just like that I could stick on a spooky show.
Yeah.
That isn't too intense, but does everything that I kind of want.
Watch a little thing.
Exactly. That's what. Yeah. Switch off the lights. Watch the Midnight Club. Maybe get sad. Yeah. And have a fun little spooky time. It does again. Mike Flanagan did it again. Is what I'll say. I enjoyed it. And with that being said, I think that's pretty much the intermission section done. And with that, we'll move over to the negative.
God. Is it time
for the negative Letterboxd reviews?
Oh my god!
I assume there has been no other team meetings held.
No team meetings this week. My source, my inside source wasn't forthcoming this week with any transcripts. So, maybe next time.
We'll see.
Maybe next time we'll catch up with Tyler because he stormed out at the end of the last one, didn't he?
He did. He legged it.
From what I understand, he's been roaming the streets, and maybe next week he'll have actually in his time off. Maybe he's written a little song about his experience. Who knows?
Yeah.
Indeed.
Anyway, this is going to be, if you're unfamiliar with this segment, this is the section where we go to the website Letterboxd and we go to the film that we've been talking about and we go to the negative reviews of this. I am a bit scared of this one because for what the film is,
it's a scary one,
and there's no shortage of half a stars. These are all half a star reviews as well. So what do people have to say?
Oh man, I'm scared.
Right, half a star, friggin' epic. That doesn't seem.
You've gone the wrong way, fella.
Yeah, exactly. Half a star, and no, I am not. Was this a continuation? Yes. Okay. So let me read the first review.
Okay.
Because I just saw and no, I am not done. I can see this person. So this is a two-parter on his part.
Oh my god. Come on,
right.
let's do it.
So half a star. I hate this. It gave me the shits and childhood trauma.
It gave me the shits is interesting.
Half, and so then his part 2, half
Okay.
star. And no, I am not done. This movie was made by some sick, freaky, deaky people with some fucked up fantasies. This movie is made with the sole purpose of causing tears. If I were to be given a choice, watch this movie again or get tortured till you die, I would choose the torture. This is my absolute least favorite movie, and I have all the negative to say about this horrific disaster. This just sounds like you've got some personal things and this triggered it. That's how that sounded.
Still don't understand how it gave him the shit. That's interesting. That's very interesting.
That's certainly something. Half a star. 1. Like militarism, bad. God got it, but pulling illogical self-inflicted tragedy on top of illogical self-inflicted tragedy for the sake of making a point is excessive and akin to purchasing sympathy with tragic elements. 2. Following the previous point. Oh, this is a jumbled mess.
Dude,
So
yeah, I was gonna say, what the fuck is this guy on about?
Some of it is written in kanji, which I cannot read.
Right. What's the point in having you?
Yeah. Me, yeah, I know. What's the point? I can't read kanji. I should just leave. I should just hand it over to, I don't know anyone who can read kanji.
Martin Scorsese probably can.
We'll get Martin Scorsese just to
No,
host the
bet.
podcast. Half a star. I know this. That was the shits review.
Okay.
Half a star. So depressed and definitely do not recommend. I mean, it is. So
It is pretty depressing. I'll give you that.
half a star. Movie go die.
Right. Okay. Very good.
Half a star. Mid.
Fuck it. Was that Scott Dugdale sneaking his way in there?
I wish it was.
Oh.
Half a star. Don't care, didn't ask, plus you're a propaganda film designed to awash the memories of horrific war crimes the Japanese committed during World War II.
Whoa. Whoa now. Okay, we're going to wash our hands of that one. What the fuck? I thought when you started off, he was doing the Twitter phrase, the fucking don't care, didn't ask plus ratio.
Yeah.
But then instead of saying ratio, he just jeez, man.
Oh, the comments aren't fun.
No, I imagine they're not.
One comment says thousands of innocent civilians were killed. What are you talking about? Another comment says awful review from an awful person. This is an extremely ignorant thing to say. Okay, we're moving on.
Yeah, no, that's not our forte.
And then half a star. The brother pissed me off.
Well, fuck you. That brother's the best guy.
What a lovely chap.
What a lovely fella, you know?
I think the best review has to be I hate this. It gave me the shits and childhood trauma.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say, but it's not Hall of Fame because I feel like this person
It's
also
not,
got. I feel like this person also got triggered by this film.
Yeah. What's their favorite movies? Go on.
Some good shouts here.
Oh,
Onibaba.
Dunno.
Japanese horror film. You know that you would know the mask. You know the classic
okay.
like the demonish Japanese mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Okay.
Lady Snowblood, class film. That's the one that Tarantino basically nicked a lot of things for Kill Bill.
Because he's a talented fraud.
Hey,
Sorry.
hey,
Sorry.
Inglourious
Sorry.
Bastards. You liked Inglourious Bastards.
I do like Inglourious Bastards. Yeah.
Kaidan, which is a anthology horror film from Masaki Kobayashi, the guy who did Harakiri.
Okay.
And House, another Japanese horror film, which I've heard is mental as fuck. So this person has a very pro-Japanese film
Right.
thing.
Okay.
So,
Well, I hope they've stopped having the shits.
yeah,
Yeah. Damn, man.
Anyway, no Hall of Fame this week.
No Hall of Famer, I'm afraid.
That got You know, I said like, oh, I'm scared to go on this negative review section.
Yeah, man. That.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, that was hell of a conversation in that one comment section. Dear God. Not for us,
God.
I'm afraid. Not
No.
for us.
No, it's not. It's not for us to laugh at.
Yeah. Dear God.
But anyway, that's where we move on
Yes.
to the outro section, and obviously Lewis hasn't got anything to say this time.
He hasn't got anything to say.
Well, no, because he hasn't. Because he's not going to be able to.
Well, that's not
Because
like him,
he's
fucking scumbag. He's not even going to listen to this, so I can just fucking slag him off. What did he?
he didn't.
He is Team Robbie, isn't he?
Yeah, he is Team Robbie.
Yeah. Did he enjoy my impression of him? Do you know?
I mean, he did. Yeah, he was gonna say something to me. He was gonna say something, but he couldn't. So he did what he did instead, which was once again just out you for bad gain.
Yeah. Classic. As he often does. Knobhead.
I like the little I was a fan of my bit of editing there, where he used an example of a screenshot to be like, see.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I like it.
But yeah. What was it? Oh yeah, next week's episode.
Yeah, what are we watching next week?
Next week is technically the season finale.
Oh, shit.
Until the following week, because then it will be the Halloween special. It was like, like last year, we were like,
Yeah.
the season finale's Blade Runner, but we're back next week to talk about Psycho.
Yeah.
So it's a similar type of thing. It's worked out this way. This is the season finale next week. And Robbie, have you noticed some, a regular person that we usually do talk about in these seasons that we haven't yet talked about?
No, I take no notice of anything we do.
Because Robbie, we haven't talked about Akira Kurosawa this season.
This is true. Yeah.
Until next week, we are talking about
yeah.
Akira Kurosawa film. This is going to be a bit different than his previous ones, because we're not talking about a film from the 50s. We're talking about a film that he did in 1980s.
Oh shit.
In color as well, and this is going to be a big epic samurai film. We are talking about Ran, which find time for this, Robbie, because I believe it's a 2.5 hour long film. It's going to be the longest.
Dear God. Okay. Well, let me watch that over 4 days, and then I'll get back to you. Fuck.
Big epic. 2.5 hour. It's his retelling of the Shakespeare story King Lear.
Oh, okay.
And it's got Tatsuya Nakadai in the lead, who we've talked about in Sword of Doom this season, and Harakiri not this season. This is going to be first. I've not seen this film, Robbie, yet.
Oh, cool.
So it's going to be a new one. It's going to be a new one for both of us. But that's the season finale. We're talking about the second samurai film this season and the first Akira Kurosawa. Looking forward to that. And that'll be it.
Sweet.
Good episode, I think.
A good, thoughtful episode.
Yes, and then Martin Scorsese. You know what? Thank God for Martin Scorsese, and at least alleviate.
At least, alleviate the fucking tension a bit.
Jeez, yeah.
My God.
But yeah.
Cheers, Marty, you knob.
I was like, "Oh, you Team Robbie?" It's like, no, I'm not now.
No, he's not. He's just, fucking that guy, man. I hate that guy.
And as we know, we still don't know if Martin Scorsese's a weeb.
Could be a weeb.
I thought we were going to get the answers, but he didn't.
I think he is.
But then the phone cut out, so you know.
You don't be in. You don't be in Shark Tale and not be a fucking weeb.
So Will Smith's a weeb.
Yeah, I'll hold it over him for the rest of time.
Keep my waifu's name out your fucking mouth.
Dear God. Waifu. Keep my waifu's name out of your fucking mouth is brilliant. I'm glad we've ended on a high anyway.
Yeah. Thank you all for watching and or listening. Links in the description as well. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, rate, comment. Fucking,
yes.
I don't know. Yeah, give us a good rating on Apple Podcasts and that.
Oh, yeah, go on.
And thank you all for watching and listening. Next week we'll be talking about Ran, the season finale. That's spelled R-A-N, but it's not Ran. It's Ran. Thank you all for watching and listening. Till next week, we shall see you later. And sign us off, Robbie.
Bye. Love you. I'm gonna run to the toilet and have a big old piss. Mwah, 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 mwah.